Hello again, and this is part 5 of What If Kamen Rider Kabuto Was in My Hero Academia, so let's start. Chapter 11 Old House. I don't own Kamen Rider Kabuto or My Hero Academia. Shinji was at his room looking outside a window. It was a normal morning with no crime for now. Well, it's a nice day. Shinji said. Yes. Karakishu said, so what are you going to do today? I'll go take a walk. Shinji said. Can I come too? She asked. Why not? I was thinking going outside in the woods. Shinji said, and she smiled. Shinji then drives his bike with Karakishu inside her case on the back. He then drives over to the woods and parks at the entrance. He then picks up the case and walks forward holding bag. He then found a spot and puts a blanket on the ground to sit on. He then takes Karakishu out of the case and she sits next to him. He then takes out a bento box that he made. They then ate it and Karakishu said, "You always cook much better than those humans from the store." Why, thank you. Shinji said. They enjoyed it. Then he heard someone coming to their direction. Quick hide. She then goes inside the case and Shinji puts it behind him. Then he saw Tsu come out. Tsu, he got surprised. Ribbit, Shinji, what are you doing here? Tsu asked. I came to enjoy the peace and quiet of the woods since it helps me relax. Shinji said. I see. She then looks at it. Can I sit with you? Sure. Shinji said. She then sits with him and looks at the lunch he made. You made a big one, Ribbit. You never know. Shinji said. Can I? She asked and he nodded. She then tries it and got surprised. Wow, you're a pretty good cook. He then points his finger up. Each meal only happens once in your life, so make each one the most important. Still with those quotes I see. Tsu said. Of course. Shinji said. She then sees the case and said, hey, what's that case? Oh, this. Shinji brings it forward. I found it lost. He then opens it, but what I found inside surprised me. He then takes Karakishu out. A doll, she said, confused. Yes, it seems she was left here. I find her to be interesting. Shinji said. She does look well made. Tsu looks at her. I wonder who just left her. Old dolls are always forgotten. Shinji then puts her back, but I like the way they look. Yeah, I can see that. Tsu said. They then spent time together before Tsu went back to the city. Shinji then went around the woods with Karakishu and they saw a whole house in front of them. I wonder. Shinji said. You think there's something inside? Karakishu asked. Yes, let's see. Shinji said and they went inside. He saw the house was empty and he looks around. She walks next to him and looks behind. We're not alone. Then a giant humanoid spider came down and stands on his hands and feet. This was Hell Spider. Shinji looks at it and said, this isn't like a Nomu. No, it's a summon like Hama. Then Hama came and shoots arrows at Hell Spider, who jumps around and shoots web at him, making it stuck on the wall. Hama, he then calls out his Zectors and they all came to distract Hell Spider and he grabbed Kabuto, Henshin, he then attaches it to the belt. Henshin! He then turns into Kamen Rider Kabuto masked form, then he pulls the horn to the side. Cast off. Cast off. The armor flies out and hits Hell Spider. Change Beetle. Kabuto then charges at Hell Spider with the kunai and slashes at him. Hell Spider blocked the blade with his claws and Kabuto kicks him back, changing it to gun mode and shoots at him point blank. Hell Spider growls and shoots web, making Kabuto jump around. Then he saw Karakishu jump and shoot vines at him, hitting Hell Spider in the face. He then got angry and goes after her. She then makes a spider-like web with her vines to block him and he then jumps back. Clock up! Kabuto said. Clock up! He then goes after Hell Spider and goes behind him. Then Hell Spider turns around and kicks him back. Clock over! Kabuto crashes to the floor and said, his reaction time was able to counter me. Then the floor starts to break and he falls down. Shinji! Karakishu follows him with Hell Spider growling, crawling towards them. He then lands on his feet and Kabuto saw he was in a basement. He looks around and he looks forward to see a crystal there. Inside was a blue-haired man with horns wearing a white robe. Who is he? He goes up to him. Shinji, he then sees Karakisha going up to him. She then looks at the man. Shinji, that is not a human. Really? Kabuto stares at him and puts his hand on the crystal. Then Hell Spider came down and roars at them. They turned to him and Kabuto said, "Okay, let's finish this." Then the man's eyes opened and the crystal broke, freeing him. What? Kabuto looks back and he then charges forward to Hell Spider and hits him with a mace, sending him through the wall. The man looks at the duo and walks forward to them, then he looks at Karakishu. "What?" she said, and he kneels down, then he fixes her dress. "Fixed," he said. "Oh, thank you," she said. He then looks at Kabuto and bows before him. "Hello, my name is Susanoo." "I see, well Susanoo, what are you exactly?" Kabuto asked. "I am a taigu, a weapon made from creatures known as a danger beasts." Susanoo said. "I see." Kabuto then puts a hand on his chin. He could be from another world like Karakishu, so why did you break free from that prison? "You have wakened me, taigas pick who their masters, and I was chosen to be with you." Susanoo said. "I see, well then Susanoo, there's a few things you should know. We're in a world where heroes exist and villains, but quick warning, don't kill anyone unless it's an actual monster." Kabuto said. "Very well," Susanoo said. Then they saw Hell Spider come back and Kabuto said, "But first let's go after him." They then charge at Hell Spider. He then jumps to them but they avoided and Susanoo hits him with his lance. Then they saw Hama come down after freeing himself and he shoots arrows at the spider. Karakishu then hits him with vines and she throws him around. Susanoo then hits him in the chest, sending Hell Spider to Kabuto, who presses the buttons on the Zector. 1, 2, 3. He then pulls the horn. Rider kick. He pulls it back. Rider kick. He then kicks Hell Spider and he explodes. They then saw him glow and Hell Spider turns into a stone with his color, then Kabuto catches it. "I was right," then Hama turns back into a stone too, going to Kabuto. "What are they, master?" Susanoo asked. "Who are they? I'm not sure, but I call them summons and they are capable to fight off the strongest of the villains." Kabuto said. "I see." Susanoo said. "Well, let's go." Kabuto said and he transforms back. Next day Izuku was walking down the streets with his classmates behind him. They were heading to school and they saw Shinji at the entrance. "Hey Shinji," Kaminari said. "Oh hey guys," Shinji said. "It's good that you arrived early," Tenya said. "Yes, I know," Shinji said. Shinji, they then looked to the right and Shinji's classmates got surprised since Susanoo was there. "Excuse me, but you seem to have left your wallet." "Oh," Shinji said and takes it. He then looks at his bag to see a hole. "I need to fix now." "Damn, he's about as tall as All Might," Siro said. "He's real manly," Kirishima said. "Shinji, who is he?" Momo asked. "Oh yes, everyone, this is Susanoo and he's like a bodyguard of mine," Shinji said. Susanoo lived in that old house since he couldn't let Midnight see him yet. He also explained to him about the hero world. "A bodyguard?" Humikage said. "Yes, he wanted to protect me since he doesn't like certain people to try to take my stuff," Shinji said. "Well, you're still a student, so having someone that big does help," Hyoka said. "But he still freaks me out," Mineta said. "Alright everyone, now let's go class," Tenya said. Susanoo then looks at Izuku and he got scared. There's something the matter, sir?" Then he fixed his tie. "They're much better." "Oh thank you," Izuku said. "Wow, he's helpful," Ochako said. "Well, he's kind of a perfectionist, so you have to get used to that," Shinji said. After they went to class, Susanoo went to the old house and sees Karakishu there. "So is Shinji fine?" "Yes," he nodded. "That's good," she said. She comes here since it could get lonely without Shinji back home. Chapter 12, Final Exam. I don't own Kamen Rider Kabuto or My Hero Academia. Shinji was at school. They were told by Aizawa that they will have to study for the exam and he saw the look some of them were having. I didn't study at all. Kaminari and Mina said with Mina laughing and Kaminari worried. Well, it's not that hard when you're in the top 10. Mineta said. Wait, you ranked in the top 10? Mina and Kaminari said. What? That makes no sense. I guess he had to come here somehow. Shinji said. What does that mean? Mineta said. So what about you, Shinji? Since you came here, did you take an exam? Sue asked. He then writes a number and shows them. They then saw it said 2. What? You would be second place. Kaminari said. That's to be expected from Shinji. Mina said. How is that even possible? Kaminari said. Simple, it's an ancient word that's not in your head called studying. Shinji said. I want to have a better future when I was a kid, so I took the books. It's okay everyone, I can help you study for the exam. Momo said, who was number 1. Yeah, that's good idea. Shinji said. Oh thank you, the duo said to her. Well, I don't need help, but I don't mind studying together. Jiro said. Some of the others started to say the same, making Momo excited. Yes, I'm so glad we could all be together. I'll ask Mother to prepare the dining hall for us. What is everyone's favorite tea? Shinji chuckles and said, well, she got excited. What about you, Shinji? Sue asked. I will have to study on my own, but I will be okay. Shinji said. Hey, does that butler of yours cook anything good? Kirishima asked. Susanu? Shinji said, he can cook, but I prefer to do my cooking. Wait, you can cook? Kaminari said, and they got surprised. Shinji got confused and said, yes, I always cook my food. Yeah, Shinji's pretty good. Sue said. You tried his cooking, that's not fair. Mina said. Look, I'll show you true cooking is some other time. Shinji said. Is that why you always bring lunch with you? Izuku asked. Yes, I like the food here, I can just do better. Shinji said. Well, maybe you would show me your skills, Shinji. Momo said. Yeah, sure. Shinji said. At lunchtime the class were at the lunchroom eating. They were thinking what the other exam will be. Say, what do you think the other part of the exam will be after the? Kirishima asked. It might be combat like in some of the other tests, but we have to be ready for anything, Shinji said. Yes, who knows what it might be. Izuku said, but an elbow hits him in the back of his head. Shinji then saw it was the guy from the sports festival that can copy the others' quirks. Oh sorry, your head is so big that it's hard to miss. I know you, Nito from class 1B. Shinji said. I heard that you guys had a run-in with the hero killer, you guys just love getting into the spotlight. Nito said, but it's not because you're good heroes, it's because you're always getting into trouble. What kind of villain will you unleash upon us all? But then they saw Itsuka chop him down. That's enough. Itsuka said she then saw Shinji. Hey Shinji. Oh hey, haven't seen you in a while. Shinji said. I heard you guys were thinking about the exams, I heard it's going to be robots. Itsuka said. How did you know? The others asked. A friend of mine a year after me, so she told me. Itsuka said, and she noticed Shinji was eating a bento. Hey, you're not eating the school's food. Oh, I just prefer to do my own lunch. Shinji said. Oh yeah. Nito got up. Let's see if you're any good. He takes out a roll and bites it. They then saw him stop like a statue and Itsuka asked, so how was it? He then shakes and walks away. What got into him? She then tries it and was surprised. Wow, this is really good. She smiled. Thank you. Shinji then points his finger up. No matter what condiment, what ingredient, there is something greater, the love of the person cooking. Again with the quotes. Kaminari and Kirishima said. Hey, maybe when we go camping Shinji can cook for us. Mina said. I don't need his stinking cooking. Bakugo said. Suit yourself. Shinji said. Later at class some of them were happy that the exam will be robots after the written. Hey Deku. Bakugo said, and they look at him. I don't know what's going on, but you changed a lot. We will be getting individual scores in the finals, new rankings, so I'll know exactly where we're standing. He points at Izuku, who is nervous. I'll show you how much better I am. He then looks at Shinji and Narukami. I'll kill you too for what you did to my arm. I'll surpass your speed. He then leaves class. Looks like he added again. Kirishima said. They all began to study hard for the exam. Shinji was in his room and he looks outside the window. He dropped his pencil, but Karakisha gives it back to him. He then kept working and making sure he will be able to pass this exam. They did the written one and they were able to finish it. Shinji saw Momo being thanked by Mina and Kaminari, making him smile. Now it's time for the practical, Shinji said. They went to the center plaza in their costumes, with Shinji being Kamen Rider Kabuto in rider form. They saw the teachers there waiting for them. Now then, let's begin the last test. Remember, it's possible to fail this final, so if you want to go to camp, don't make any stupid mistakes. Aizawa said. Why are all the teachers here? Jiro asked. I expect many of you gathered information and believe you have some idea what you'll be facing with today. Aizawa said. We're fighting those big old metal robots. Kaminari said. Fireworks, s'mores, here we come. Mina said. Then from Aizawa's scarf came the principal. Actually, this year's tests will be different. Principal Nizu, some of them said. You're changing things. Momo said. The tests now will have a new focus. There will be hero work, of course, but also teamwork and combat between actual people. Nizu said, and he got down. So you students will be working together in pairs and your opponents will be one of our esteemed UA teachers. That got them nervous, and Kabuto said to the teachers. Your partners and your opponents have already been chosen. They were determined on various factors, like Yaoyorozu and Todoroki are team against me. Aizawa had an evil grin. Then we have Midoriya, Narukami, and Bakugo. That surprises them and they look at each other. Oh great, Kabuto said. And their opponents is, then All Might lands in front of them. I am here to fight. All Might said. We're fighting All Might, the trio said. You have to work together, boys, if you want to win. All Might said. Great, it had to be the one that can rival my speed. Kabuto said. The teachers picked them together because of their relationship between the three, with the rivalry between Bakugo and Izuku along with the hate that Bakugo has with Shinji. Now you'll each get 30 minutes. To pass you must either put these handcuffs on your teacher, or if you may win if any of you manages to escape the combat stage. Nizu explained to them. I see, we have to figure out what's the best course of plan. Sometimes running away and fight to live another day is better. Kabuto said. It's gonna be much different from that combat training you all went through earlier. After all, you against people way better than you. Present Mike said. Better really? Wait, aren't you just the announcer? Jiro said. Hey, watch your mouth, girl, have some respect, he said. This time your exam will be very similar to a real battle, as strange as it is. Please think of us as villains. 13 said. Assuming you come across your enemy, if you think you can win against them, then fight, however. Snipe said. In instances where you're outmatched, it would be smarter to run away and find help. Aizawa said. So it's making the right choice. Kabuto said. That's right, it's a test of your decision-making skills, but with these rules your only real choice is to flee. All Might said, and then goes to take something out. That's why the support course made these accessories for us. He then takes out a ring. Behold, ultra compressed weights. The teachers then put them on. These babies will add about half our body weight to our physiques. It's not much, but they will eat up our stamina and make it harder for us to move around. Then eat too heavy. Oh shoot, these are heavier than I thought. Did Hatsum makes those things? Kabuto asked. Why yes, she and you are very close, aren't you? All Might said. I won't lose again. Bakugo said. Later they started the tests and Kabuto was with Izuku watching the others fight along with Recovery Girl, each of the heroes they were paired up with. Oh hey guys, they saw Ochako, so you came here to watch the fight. Yeah, Kakin doesn't really want to talk about strategy with us. Izuku said. Well, let's watch the fight since we can learn a few things. Kabuto said, and he was thinking of some kind of strategy. They saw each one's fight. The first team lost while others actually won, like Tsu and Tenya. He then sees Momo and Shoto fight against Aizawa, and they were having problems until Shoto listened to Momo and she used flashbangs to blind him. Their other plan was to bind him, which worked. Momo came back and sees Kabuto waiting for her. She looks at him and he gives her a thumbs up. She then smiles with a few tears. Thank you. You did a good job. Kabuto then looks at Shoto. Looks like someone finally listened. Yeah, so what about you? I know that you're with Bakugo and Midoriya. Shoto said. I will just see what happens since one of them is stubborn. Kabuto said. Later Kaminari and Mina could beat the principal. Sinkei used a wrecking ball to destroy the place while laughing. Then it was Jiro with Kota. They used bugs to fight Present Mike. Wait a minute, how wasn't he scared with my suit? Kabuto asked. I guess robot bugs don't count. Tsu said. I gotta ask him. Kabuto then leaves the room. He met with Kota, who was holding Jiro. Hey guys. Hey, they said. I gotta ask, how aren't you scared when you my Zectors? Kabuto asked. Oh, they aren't real bugs, they are more robots. Kota said. Kabuto then saw Jiro's ears were bleeding. Your ears? Oh yeah, she said. Here, let me help you since Kota's a little tired. Kabuto took her to see Recovery Girl while she blushes a bit. Then Hagakure and Mizo won and they saw Snipe getting worried. They went to the control room. Hey guys. Hagakure said. Kabuto turns around and his elbow bumps into something soft. Oh no. Shinji, you pervert, she said, angry. It was an accident, I didn't even see you. I would never do that on purpose. Kabuto said. After some time it was time for Kabuto and Izuku's turn. They went to the gate and saw Bakugo waiting for them. They then went in and the exam started. Look Kaken, I think we should talk about it. I would think of what to do, but All Might is the villain, so the best plan is to run away. Izuku said. Stop following me, he said. I won't run, I will blast away that smile. Don't be an idiot, you can't even keep up with me. What chance do you have against All Might? Kabuto said. What was that? Bakugo glares at him. Look, I don't care if you have some pride to win, but this will only screw us up. Kabuto said. He's right, we need to think of a plan. Izuku said, but Bakugo punches him. I don't need any of your help, I don't care if you're getting stronger, I don't need you, he said. That's it. Kabuto then kicks Bakugo. I'll just have to break that other arm. Oh yeah, just try it. Bakugo said. Izuku then sees something coming towards them. Duck, they looked and jumped away to avoid a large gust of wind that blows them back, destroying the streets they were in. Who cares if I destroy the city? They had his voice while they got up. Of course. Kabuto said, and they saw All Might. You still think it's some simple exam? Well, you better get ready. All Might said. Run. Izuku runs to the back dash. Don't tell me what to do. Bakugo said. All Might then goes towards them. Stun grenade. Bakugo then uses his hand to make a flash of light, blinding All Might. You want everything I got, All Might. Bakugo goes towards him, but he got grabbed by the mouth. Clock up. Kabuto taps his belt. Clock up. He then goes towards All Might at high speed, but he then kicks him in the chest, sending him to a building. Clock over. Kabuto was injured and he gets up. He then sees Bakugo fight him only to be punched away, and he and Izuku were on the ground. I understand you jealous of young Midoriya's potential, but it's easier to level up when you're a novice. All Might said to him, you still have so much room to grow stronger, boy. Shut up, All Might, I'd rather lose this than get help from a weakling. Bakugo said. Just remember what you just said, hero. All Might tries to punch him only for Izuku punch Bakugo away. Don't ever say that you rather lose. Izuku yelled. Clock up. Then both of them vanish and All Might looks to his right, so he took them with him. Kabuto stops far away and both of them were on the ground in an alley. I told you I didn't need help. Bakugo said. Kaken, we need to run, you're always fighting, so why did you give up like that? Izuku said. I said shut up. He then punches the wall next to Izuku. Didn't you see his speed? No matter if we tried to run even with Bug Boy, he would just find us. Yeah, but fighting him won't do any good either. Izuku said. Stop. Kabuto said to them, look, alone we have no chance, but if we work together then maybe we can win. And what is your plan then? Bakugo asked. Then All Might sends another gust of wind pushing them back and they land on the streets together on the ground. They got up and he said, so young heroes, are you ready? Kabuto thinks of something, then Karakishu saw the fight from her own world and said to Shinji. She then uses the stone's powers and the energy from the quirks of the other two next to him. Maybe you can use that power you're making. Kabuto then sees a light that only he could see and grabs it. He then sees a small Zector with the colors of the three of them on it with a big red button. He then attaches to his belt and All Might saw it. So what does that do? Kabuto presses the button. Heroes unite. Then Izuku and Bakugo saw three halves of a cocoon appear around them and Bakugo said, hey, what's going to happen? Shinji. Izuku said. Kabuto then raises his hand while the duo said, don't. Let's go. He then presses the button again and cocoon close together, making them glow before it bursts open. Fusion. The explosive smash. They then saw Kabuto appear, but his arms had Bakugo's gauntlets, Izuku's mouth guard, Bakugo's headpiece on the back with the X shape on his chest with Izuku's arm colors and white gloves. Ha! Izuku said. Boom! Kabuto said. What? Bakugo said. All Might's jaw dropped and everyone else was shocked. This is, what a minute. Kabuto said. Then the trio realized it, we combined, they then run around. Hey, what hell, Bug Boy, explain yourself. Bakugo said while the body goes around like crazy. How am I supposed to know that thing was new? Kabuto said with the body standing straight. This goes against everything I know. Izuku said with a finger on his head. Amazing. All Might said. They combined their bodies. Ochako was holding her face. How? That shouldn't even be possible. Tenya said. It seems not even Shinji knew that. Shoto said. Fine, just stay out of my way. Bakugo charged forward to throw another explosion and All Might guards himself and saw the damage. They got stronger, he said, and he punches them away. Izuku then took control and uses his quirk to jump off a building and into a roof. I told you to get out of my way. Bakugo said. Look, we don't have much time and this body might not take long. Kabuto looks at his hand to see smoke coming out of it. We need to work together and combine our skills. Right. Izuku said. Whatever. Bakugo said. They used Izuku's quirk to jump off and charge at All Might. He then punches at them and they clashed fists. They threw more punches and Bakugo uses his quirk to add more explosive power to them. Not bad. It seems this form is helping you work together, but it will take more than that. All Might said. Then they put up arm back and tapped the belt. Clock up. What? All Might got surprised. Clock up. They then went faster going around him, making All Might get damaged from the fight, surprising them. Then they jumped to the sky and tapped the belt. 1, 2, 3. Then Kabuto pulls the horn. Rider kick. Rider kick. The energy goes to the foot, but the other two combine their powers too with it, making it glow, and it turns into an electrical fire kick. They went towards All Might, who punches at them, making a clash happen. The trio shouted and an explosion happened, pushing All Might away, and they appear behind him. He smirks and said, well done, they had put the cuffs on him. The test was over and they separate. That was so weird. Izuku said, and he still felt that One for All was with him. Well, even with that handicap we managed to win. Kabuto said. Bakugo just walks away. All Might was proud of them, but what they didn't know, one of the weights on All Might fell off. Next day everyone was worried about the exam. With some worried, Aizawa goes to tell them, now for the exams some of you failed the practical, as for the camp, you're all going, that MSDE them happy. The good news is that none of you bombed the written one. The test was supposed to see how would you react when you know that we would have been going all out. But didn't you said you were going to go all out? Ojiro said. That was something to keep you on edge. You needed the camp, so we weren't going to separate you. That was just a logical deception. Aizawa said. Mr. Aizawa, this is the second time you lied to us. Aren't you afraid we lose faith in you? Tenya said. Good point, I'll consider it, but I wasn't lying about everything. Failure is failure, so the 5 of you have extra lessons. Aizawa making the ones failed get sad, but what we didn't expect was that stunt Narukami pulled with Bakugo and Midoriya. It seems he caught All Might by surprise with that. Yeah, that one I never used. Shinji said. Still, it helped the 3 of you work together as a team. Aizawa said. I wonder if Sumas would have worked. Sue said. Later the group went shopping by Hagakure request, making them excited. Shinji went with them, but he still wonders what happened at the exam. Did Karakishu did it by herself or was something else too? The form wasn't near the speed of Hyper, all it did was give him a boost thanks to their quirks, so he wonders what would have happened if he used Hyper form with that Zector. Chapter 13 Game Start. I don't own Kamen Rider Kabuto or My Hero Academia. Shinji was at the cabin in the woods, but it was fixed up with a table there to have lunch. He was sitting at the table with Susanoo and Karakishu. He drinks a cup of tea that Susanoo made and said, "It's good." "Thank you," Susanoo said. "Yes," Karakishu said with her own cup. "So summer vacation." "Yes, I'll be going with my class soon. It might be some fun, but I think there might be danger," Shinji said. "Should we come as well?" Susanoo asked. "Well, yes, but stick to the shadows," Shinji said, and they nodded. "Also, Karakishu, what was that Zector that made me fuse with my classmates?" "That was a special one that was made thanks to the energy made from your friends along with the stones. With my powers I was able to unlock it for you," Karakishu said. "In other words, you had me cheat," Shinji said with a frown. "No, I only give you a bit of help to make it faster," Karakishu said with a smile. "You would have gotten it a bit later, but I just didn't want to risk it." "I see. Well, either way it allowed me to work with those two and let us defeat All Might even with his power was suppressed," Shinji said. "Yes, Karakishu showed me the fight, and All Might is an impressive warrior. I would say he could compete with any of the others IFC. He could even give me a though time," Susanoo said. "You say it like you can fight him on equal grounds," Shinji said. "With my trump card I might," Susanoo said. "Interesting, but wouldn't I have to sacrifice my own life energy?" Shinji said. "I might be able to find a way to avoid it," Karakishu said. Then Shinji's stones glowed and his summons appeared around him with Hellspider on the wall. "We have many options, but until then we should focus on what might happen," Shinji said. He then gets a text and looks at his phone. Endurance training. Izuku sent it about the pool letting the guys to train, seems interesting. He then gets up. "I'll be going." Later Shinji arrives at the school and goes to the pool in his shorts. He then sees the guys there. "Good that you came, Shinji," Tenya said. Yes. Shinji smiled and sees Mineta and Kaminari on the ground. "What's wrong with them?" "I don't know," Fumikage said. "Hi Shinji." He looks to see Mina with the girls wearing the swimsuits of the school and she waves at him. "Well, let's get to work," Tenya said. They then all train by swimming around the pool as fast as they can. Shinji came out of the pool and he then sits at the edge rubbing his forehead. Momo saw him and blushes a bit at the scene. "Wow," Sue said. "He can make it like he was posing for a magazine." "Here." Tenya offered him a soda. "Thank you." Shinji takes it to drink. He was then with Tenya and Izuku and Tenya said, "You know, I never thought all 3 of us would be friends." They look at him. When I met Midoriya, I didn't think of much about him, but he really showed me when he risked it to save Ochako. Then if someone were to say that a quirkless would be in school when I entered, I would have said it would have been impossible since the dangers, but Shinji showed me. He then smiles. Yeah, we are a odd group. Shinji said. Yes, but I'm also here because of the others, so they're counting on me, so I need to get stronger. Izuku said. You better. They then saw Bakugo going towards them. Because I want to beat at your best, then Kirishima stopped him. Sorry, I had to convince him to come, he said. How about we settle it right here? Bakugo said. Wait, this is the pool. Izuku said. Well, we could make it a competition. Tenya said, hey guys, wanna have a race for a friendly competition? They all seem excited. Well, looks like I'm out, since you guys are just going to use your quirks. Shinji said. Don't you dare, bug boy, I want you to face with one of those suits, so use them. Bakugo said. Shinji looks at him and raises his arm, then the kick hopper Zector came and made the belt. Shinji grabbed it and said, Henshin, then he inserts it on the belt. Henshin. Then Shinji transforms into Kamen Rider Kick Hopper. Change Kick Hopper. He then looks at Bakugo and he growls, that form, it's the same one you broke my arm with. Yes, I think since you want a challenge it should be this form. Kick Hopper said. Also you too, Todoroki. Bakugo said. I want you to fight with everything you got. Then they started to race, and like what Kick Hopper said, he saw them use their quirks. He then goes to race with a few others and starts to swim with his suit. He then uses the belt's function. Rider jump. Rider jump. He then goes forward winning the race and he stands up. Then he sees Bakugo, Izuku and Shoto winning their races. Alright, Midoriya, Bakugo, Todoroki and Narukami won their races, so they're the last ones. Tenya said. They all looked at each other with a determined look. They then went to their places and got ready. Go! Tenya said, and they jumped with Kick Hopper going forward while the others just fell down, making him stop. What? He said. Hey, why aren't they using their quirks? Siro said. Shinji would have one like that. It's 5 p.m. They saw Aizawa come towards with his quirk activated. Your authorized pool is officially over. Hurry up and go home. Shame. Kick Hopper gets out and changes back to normal. Well, I'll be going. He then leaves while some got bummed out. The sun was going down and Shinji was in his normal clothes walking down the streets. Hey Shinji, he then saw Mina going towards him. Can I walk with you? Sure. Shinji nodded. Man, that was lame. I knew you would have won if Professor Aizawa didn't stop you. Mina said. Maybe, but in the water many things can happen. Shinji said. Still, soon we will go to the training camp together. Mina said with a big smile and he chuckles. Say, can you do that fusion thing with the rest of us? I don't know, I never tried it until that day, but it's not like I'm always using it on everyone I met. Shinji said. Maybe it will make something really cool with the rest of us since your armor and their quirks combined made a cool combo. Mina said. Maybe, only time will tell. Shinji said. Chapter 14, The Meaning of Christmas. I don't own Kamen Rider Kabuto or My Hero Academia. Today was snowing at the city and Shinji was walking around the yard. He then raises his hand up to let a snowflake fall on it and he looks at snowflake while it melts. Such a wonderful thing, something that will melt away in hotter times can make such beauty in this time of the year. Shinji said. He then walks forward and he sees Tsu feeling a bit cold wearing a green jacket. Hello Shinji. She said. Hello Tsu, still trying to fight the cold. Shinji said. Because of her quirk she's part frog and frogs go into a state of hibernation in the winter, but she is trying to fight it while being very cold. You shouldn't try risking every time, plus today is Christmas Eve. Shinji said. Rib bit. Yeah, Momo invited the class to her house to celebrate the party. Tsu said while still shaking. Well, this won't do, Susanoo. Shinji said and he then comes. Yes, he said. Can you help with my friend's problem? Shinji said. Susanoo then runs off and gets green scarf and face mask for her to wear. There they should cover most of your body. Thank you, Ribbit, Sue said. Sue then walks away and Shinji walks forward with Susanoo. Then Shinji saw a limo drive by and the window opens to reveal a woman with black hair and Egyptian-style clothing. She stares at him and he looks back at her. She then closes her window when the limo drives off. That woman was not normal, Susanoo said. Yes, let's be careful when she does appear again, Shinji said. They walked forward and Shinji sees some heroes jumping around the city and some making interviews. Even if this world's publicity is what heroes want, but even though in a time of joy they would still try to get it. Criminals here don't have much choice, as some poor people don't have a choice but to steal just to feed their starving families, Shinji said. Yes, many suffer in this time in need, Susanoo said. Yes, which is why the true heroes are those that give a helping hand, Shinji said. The true hero of this holiday, he then takes out a snow globe that has Santa. Is Santa Claus? Yes, but many say he isn't real, Susanoo said. You never know, the original Kamen writer met the real Santa, so what's to say he isn't here, Shinji said. After Christmas isn't about the toys and the presents we can receive but what we can give to others. The holiday is much richer and grand, and kids all over the world that are nice if they are quirkless or not can always count on him to be there. Susanoo smiles at his words since Shinji sees Christmas as much more than what others might think of it. They continued and they saw a Santa wearing glasses ringing a bell, who would like to give money to the poor. Next to him was a box that was empty. Shinji goes up to him and gives him a few dollars. Here, I hope it helps. Thank you, young man, Santa said. You know, I heard what you said when you were talking about Christmas. Oh yeah, Shinji said. Yes, I have to agree that the heroes only care about the fame and money they will get instead of helping others, but I can see that Christmas cheer is still inside of you. Santa points at his chest. Thank you, Santa. Shinji smiled. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Santa said, and they walk away. Santa looks at them with a smile. Shinji. Shinji then goes forward and to see Tenya and Izuku walking down the street. Tenya, Izuku, Shinji said, and they look at him. Shinji, they said with a smile. Izuku sees Susanoo and said, Good evening, mister. Susanoo, and he nodded. So Shinji, are you going to the party? Tenya said. Well, yes, but I have been thinking, Shinji said, making them confused. Like there are people out there that don't have much this time of the year. They are like me and live all alone, so I think I'm going to be a hero to them and help out. He then goes forward. Really, you're just going to miss the party, Izuku said. We're supposed to be heroes. All I want to do is help people in this time of year, not just party like we can do any day, Shinji said. That made them amazed, and Tenya said, of course, as future heroes we should help the people. Izuku and Tenya went to see the group with Momo there, and she said, Good that you were able to come, but where's Shinji? He is going to help out the needy, Izuku said, surprising them. What, so he's going to miss the party? Kaminari said. He said he wants to help out those that are like him. Remember, Shinji's an orphan, so he wants to help those that are like him that don't have parents, Tenya said. They got surprised and Momo said, That's very kind of him. I think we should do the same. That surprises them. What about the party? Mineta said. Yeah, if Shinji wants to help we should be those kids' heroes too, Mina said. Yeah, Kanta said. Shinji is a real man for doing it, Kirishima said. With Shinji. He was walking towards the city after he sent Susanoo to get something he planned to do, but then he sees something that made him worried. He sees a dark shadow that looked at him before vanishing. He then goes to an alley and shows his belt. Then the Kabuto Zector came and he grabs it, Henshin, then he slots it in. Henshin. He then transforms into the masked form and pulls the horn. Cast off. Cast off. Then the armor flies off. Change Beetle. He then runs off and he then arrives at a construction site to see Infernitron there. You, Kabuto said. See the blazing Yule before us. Fa la 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 la. He then shoots fire at Kabuto, who then runs around to avoid it. Kabuto takes out his kunai in gun mode to shoot at the monster, but Infernitron shoots fireballs to stop the shots. Then he makes a fire beam, making Kabuto to avoid it by running around. Then he makes a fire whip to grab Kabuto's arm. Got you, now burn. Infernitron then starts to heat up the flames, but he got blasted in the back. Hey! Kabuto looks up to see Kamen Rider Lady jump to his side. He sighs and said, May. I saw you were having a little problem, so I jumped in just in time, hubby. Lady said. Look out! They then avoided another fire attack from Infernitron as he kept shooting them. They tapped the belts. Clock up. Clock up! They ran around the area to get him, but the sensors in his eyes made him able to keep shooting them. Ha, I have sensors that allows me to keep track of you, he said. We need a new strategy. Kabuto said. I know. She then takes out a cannon that shot snow at monster, my newest baby, the freezer blaster. That just shoots snow. Kabuto said. He then sees he was distracted, but then his fusion Zector with the colors of a present, he then puts it on his belt. Happy time! He then sees 4 sides of a present appear, making them surprised. Then he presses the button, making them close. Merry Christmas! Then it opens to reveal Kabuto in a more Christmas themed form. The red now has green stripes and stars on it, along with him wearing a Santa hat. Christmas form? Kabuto looks at his body. That's so amazing. I wished I thought about that first. Lady said. Take this. Infernitron shoots fireballs, making Kabuto make a present appear to block it, and he then throws it at the monster, making it explode. He falls to the ground and Kabuto runs around throwing more gifts, making them explode. Then he presses on the belt. 1, 2, 3. He then pulls the horn. Rider kick. Rider kick. He then appears behind him with his back turned and he glows with stars coming out. He then kicks Infernitron to the sky and he bells with bells being heard. Merry Christmas. Lady goes to his side posing. Really? Kabuto said, and H changes back. At an orphanage, an old lady was working hard and she then hears a knock on the door. She then opens it and said, well, thank you for coming. Children, they all came and saw Kabuto and his friends wearing their costumes. We have some special guests. Heroes, they said with a smile. Merry Christmas. Kabuto said with a big bag. Susanoo came and puts a new Christmas tree, making them happy. Bakugo looks away with a frown like the same while the others helped out. Kakuto gives out presents to the kids and he sees Lady showing the kids her gadgets, making him stop her. Then he was next to a window and he looks outside to see the moon. Then he saw someone there flying through the sky. Ho ho ho, Merry Christmas. Santa said. Merry Christmas, Santa. Kabuto said. Merry Christmas to everyone. To be continued.